don't be ashamed to have a day job. I worked in the restaurant business pretty much my whole life until 5 years ago. If you think you're going to pass on something because it looks small, it turned out to be 3 episodes. You have to treat it like a co-star when you show up, and you have to be confident. If you're not, you got to fake it till you make it.
Claude Knowlton was born in Quebec, Canada, and studied in Los Angeles at the Lee Strasberg Institute, and started doing student films, short films and commercials, which eventually led him to film and television work. His longevity as a film and television actor has allowed him to work on numerous projects over the years with some of Hollywood's top A-list talent, whilst guest starring on such shows as New Girl, American Crime Story, Scandal, Jane the Virgin, Batgirl, Supernatural, to name a few. He now works extensively as an actor between Vancouver in Canada and Los Angeles, and is a long-running and supportive WeAudition member.
If you've ever heard of a Disney movie called the Lizzie McGuire movie with Hilary Duff, I just got a check for $100 2 weeks ago. That movie has paid so much over the years.
It's the gift that keeps giving, right?
The shows I did in LA, like Criminal Minds and New Girl, those are the shows you want to be on, even as a co-star, because they just playing all around the world all the time.
Hi, welcome back to the WeAudition Show, and today we've got Claude Knowlton. Claude, thanks for being with us. Hi.
Hi. How are you guys doing?
Claude, you've been a member of ours for a while, haven't you? We are connected with you through WeAudition.
It must be 6 years. I think
it must be. I see you on there all the time, and thanks so much. I know.
Oh, you're welcome.
I know you're a big hire of people as well, because you've been in loads of different shows. And do you sort of tell us how you use WeAudition and as part of your process when you're doing a show?
Well, I moved here in Vancouver 6 years ago, and I live by myself. And asking friends could really get it's just too much because we're so busy here in Vancouver. And to have somebody come over or me to go to their place, and it's just like 20-minute drive. And then we get bombarded with auditions here in Vancouver, whether it's theatrically or commercially. And it could be just too much. I mean, yes, you can find another buddy that also needs help. But when I found out about WeAudition through Audrey Helps Actors, I was like, this is it. Ta-da! It was like, I need this. And I've been a member ever since, and it's been fantastic. And I've made some great connections, which we can talk about.
That's kind of wonderful. You found out about WeAudition through a podcast, and now you're on a WeAudition podcast. It's come full circle.
There we are.
Yeah. And you have over 60 television and film credits. That's amazing.
Well, I've been around for a while.
Yeah. You've done all of the fantasy TV shows like Supernatural and Arrow and Supergirl. You've been in that universe. You're a regular in the Hallmark universe as well.
Well, that's kind of like Vancouver stands for is the DC comics. Now they're gone, but I was able to get cast on like you said, Supergirl, Supernatural, Arrow, iZombie, which at my age, I never thought it would happen. But there's roles for, it's not just the leads obviously cast. So there's always supporting roles. And that's what Vancouver is all about. It's pretty much a supporting role town. So you can get guest stars, obviously, but the leads most of the time come from the US. And as far as Hallmark, well, it is what it is. Some people don't like it. It's a very fantasy type of world, but it is work, and it's always pleasant to work on them. And I think being part of a movie, and like I went to Winnipeg for 2.5 weeks, that was amazing. It was a supporting cast, and it was a lot of fun.
For anyone who doesn't know what sort of the genre we're talking about when we say a Hallmark movie, how would you just sort of describe that type of film?
There's a lot of, it's like rom-com, I guess.
Yeah.
Everything is just pretty. There's no problem in the town. It's always the professional girl from New York who's moving back to her small town or going away on vacation back to her small town, and now she falls in love with the local guy. So the stories are always kind of redundant, but people seem to like them. And now on Netflix, Virgin River, which is also shot here, is kind of like the similar tone. They're just beautiful stories and love stories, and everyone's happy. And it seems to have a huge audience. So
it's interesting. I shot a Hallmark movie in Hawaii. I did 2 in Hawaii, actually. And once you say you're in them, people come out of the woodwork telling you how much they love them.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It has such a fan base. And I think what's appealing about those movies for both the actors in them and the viewers is you know what you're going to get. So it's a nice ride. for the viewer, it's something that they feel comfortable watching. And for the actors, I had the same experience as you. I did 2.5 weeks in Hawaii. It was wonderful being with that crew and cast that's like a family. And you actually get to learn. I learned a lot on that movie about acting and acting at a certain pace as well.
Yes, for sure. No, I had a blast. And the two leads were very well known. One was on Riverdale here in Vancouver, and Marisol Nichols. And it was just a lot of fun. Yeah. They have a huge following.
In shooting something like that than shooting, say, a massive superhero movie or like a big studio movie? As an actor, how do you see it differently?
It's a little bit lighter, I would say. I feel like the superheroes, they're very, it's a very well-oiled machine. Like when I got on Supergirl, even Supernatural, I mean, it was season 11. These guys, the two leads, could be watching the game and then all of a sudden they're like, action. They're like, so did you see a ghost? You know, they just have it. Like they can do it with their eyes closed. And they have directed episodes. So they help you out. Like one time the director kind of blamed me for not taking the action on time, whatever. And then Jared stepped in and said, no, you need to move your camera because we can't hear you. We can't see, I was like, thanks, man. He just like had my back. You know
it's interesting when you work with a star of a show like that, they know the show better than the director sometimes because the director changes every episode.
Exactly. This director was new. It was part of a diversity thing. So he had to do an episode or two, but he was very green and he was trying to blame me and even like came to me and said, you need to relax, man. And I'm like, it's part of my character. It's said in the script that he's very nervous detective in a small town in Massachusetts. And these two FBI guys are coming in and that was part of my character, but he just, and that also talking about character is what kind of really changes from the script to the rehearsal to what the director thinks and, the producers, everybody has their idea of how it's going to go. So sometimes you get the audition and you can't just nail it down and say, this is how it's going to go because it's going to change on the day, depending on who you're working with.
Talk me through how it might have changed in something. So you've done an audition and then it's different on the performance on the screen?
Yeah, well, especially I think Hallmark, you're talking earlier about Hallmark. I worked with Kimberly William Paisley. She's married to Bradley Paisley, a country singer. She was the girl in Father of the Bride. And she does a lot of Hallmark. It's kind of her thing, right? And Hallmark, everything has to be said with happiness. And I was playing this rich guy who was about to lose everything. His mother wouldn't talk to him anymore. Like his brother was mad. He was going to lose everything. And they wanted me to say that with a smile. And I was like, what? Not that I came in there like really angry and ready for battle, but I was just like, so then I'm acting with her and she's an executive producer. And all of a sudden she steps away and then the director comes back and he says, so Kim and I were talking and we think, you just need to lighten it up a little bit. And I was like, oh, okay. That's not how I saw it. You know what I mean? And I was like, why didn't she tell me like she's an executive producer, but she's not the director, I guess. So she didn't want to step in, but
I suppose there's appropriate ways of doing it, isn't there? And that sounds interesting that they liked you clearly, but they wanted it slightly different.
Yeah. And the writer will write something and then all of a sudden it's in the hands of everybody else. So it could totally, change, right? Take a different turn on set.
Do you find the time frame between getting the audition and doing the job in Vancouver is quite tight? Or is it sort of the last minute roles are cast there, or do you have a lot of lead time?
No, it is pretty tight, especially film and TV.
Be on your game, right?
Yeah, you have to be on your game. Supergirl was the first show to come back. We shot in September 2020. So it was the first show to come back during the pandemic to start again. So I remember when I went on set, it was for a test makeup and hair and fangs because I was playing a vampire. And everyone was covered in PPE completely. But they were so happy to be back at work and just do this, and I was the first guy in front of the camera, really, from even before the leads to do these tests. So that was very exciting. But talking about time, from audition to set, sometimes it depends. Like a movie, like I did Transformers 5 in Los Angeles when I was living in Los Angeles. I auditioned in May, and in October, my manager called me and said, "Hey, casting just called, and they want to know if you're still available." What? Am I still
Remember that
available?
audition? It was so far, or was there any communication between that time?
No, I couldn't remember. I had to go back because you get so many, and all of a sudden it was, it wasn't a huge part, but it was a huge project. And I auditioned for 2 different roles actually. And I was like, hell yeah, I'm ready. So
yeah.
So I ended up.
Is it always on self-tape for all of the roles that you're thinking about, or is there a process where you go in as well?
Well, that was back in before the pandemic. So that was in person.
Yeah, right.
That was in person. But now everything is self-tape here in Vancouver. There is one casting office I hear that I started to do in person. As far as commercials, there's a lot of casting directors here that only do in person, even for the first call. A lot of them will do a self-tape, and then the callback are in person. The director might be on Zoom. But I like both. I must say I like both. For the Disney movie that I did, Under Wraps 2, I self-taped with somebody on WeAudition, Gail. And then I got a call back, and it was an offer to either go in person to a casting office, and all it was a casting assistant and a reader with notes from production, or redo a self-tape at home. And I chose to go in person because I figured it would be so much better. They'll know that I didn't do 20 takes. Whereas at home, you know what I mean? Give him and the guy was wearing a mask. I could barely hear what he was saying. He was on the wrong side of the camera because I had rehearsed so many times one way, and you really have to be flexible. And then I got a Zoom callback. But the Zoom callback was more like a chemistry read. I was reading with different people. They kept putting me back on hold and back, a new person. And I was like,
do you think they liked you and they were trying to find out who you fit with?
Oh, I was already one of they just didn't want to say it. I didn't know.
Right, so they were trying to match you with the other cast members, it seems, that they didn't know about them. Yeah.
Yes, we were playing same-sex couple. I was playing the father of the lead girl. It's the story about 4 kids in this movie, and she has 2 dads. So they were trying to find me a partner, basically. And then I had the 4th Zoom call. And then I read with some of the leads with the girl who played my daughter. And then we did a Zoom table read, which was kind of technically challenging for me. Like you have to all of a sudden when you're ready to talk, you got to turn on your mic, turn on your camera, you know what I mean? And the whole cast is there. And then we had notes with the director afterwards. So that lasted for over 2.5 hours to prepare ourselves to do a presentation to Disney the next morning, redo the entire script again. This is a movie for Disney with about 55 people watching.
And this was an audition. You weren't cast in this role.
No, I was already cast.
I
was already cast. I didn't know which part.
Got it.
Because there's 2 dads, but I was already cast. Yes, I knew. And I met that guy who was playing my partner on the Zoom and everybody else basically. So, yeah.
So as Darren said, you've done loads of work like The Good Doctor, Supernatural, Supergirl, big thing. Is there anything that you're most proud of? What's the project you're most proud of, do you think? Supergirl.
Because I remember back in the day when I was watching those kind of shows, I was like, I could never do that. Look at these guys. What are they like? Or Star Trek or even Stargate, as G1 used to shoot here in Vancouver. And I had lived here for a little bit and I was doing background work at the time. And I was watching these guys. Like, I could never do that. And then all of a sudden I'm there on set with these superheroes, but you have to be prepared. And I got lucky with Supergirl that right before we were about to shoot, they stopped and they said, we're taking 2 weeks, break. We can't go back. There was some reason with COVID. So I had more time to prepare. And then they switched the episode around. So I shot, let's say 608 before I shot 607. And in 608, I was lying on a bed and I didn't really have that much line. So I got to meet all the cast and meet the crew and just be really familiar and just comfortable. So by the time we did my big scenes with everyone, because it is a bit nerve-wracking when you have like 6 leads that have been doing this for years and you come in as a guest. But it's just having to be prepared, basically.
Do you have any advice to somebody coming in as a guest star or a co-star on a show that's such a well-oiled machine? Like, talk us through how you would start your day, show up to set, who you check in with? Because let's say one of our audience has not done a guest star on a big show yet. What's that process like?
Well, it's not that much different than getting a day guest star. And by the way, Supergirl was a 1-day guest star when I got the audition. So you just never know. Right. And if you think you're going to pass on something because it looks small, it turned out to be 3 episodes. Top of show.
Wow. Right.
Top of show. They don't even do that anymore here in Vancouver. Right. Top of show guest star for 3 episodes. So that's, yeah. I think it's really just like you have to treat it like a co-star when you show up, and you have to be confident. If you're not, you got to, fake it till you make it, basically. Just act like you are confident and you deserve to be there because I don't like the word beat out, but you got the part. Obviously you're doing something right, and just really just be kind, know your stuff, and just act like you really know what you're doing. And then eventually you just, okay. There are things I learn every time I'm on set, right? We all do. Mm-hmm. And just really try to act like you deserve to be there. And I think everybody knows what they're doing, and they'll help you out if you're doing something wrong.
If they've cast you, surely you do deserve to be there, right?
Right. But you can still be new, and there's younger people that are just green and they show up on set sometimes without having that much experience. But I would say if you can do some background work, if you have no experience and you've done just student films, short films, which are a great way to start, do some background work, do some stand-in. Stand-in is amazing because you really get to see how the machine is working. Early part of your career, I think it's to me, it's good advice. I've done it and I learned a lot.
It's important to know your way around a set, isn't it? And understand the terminology and understand when you should be in your trailer and when you shouldn't and things like that,
Yeah. I worked as a stand-in once in my life. It was 1 week shoot. I was asked, I was with a background agency and I was doing a lot of film and TV, but for some reason on Mondays, I was off from my regular job and I was like, I'm going to do some background work. Union work, it pays pretty good. And then they asked me to be this stand-in on a show, on a movie. It starred Charlize Theron, her then fiance, Stuart Townsend, Kevin Bacon, Courtney Love, and Dakota Fanning. Wow. And I was Stuart Townsend's stand-in. There were times where I was acting with Kevin Bacon. I was off camera and he was acting with me. He was on camera. That's insane. That's the amazing experience. Yeah. And to be on set with them all week and be part of the crew. And we're like on some highway up on Vancouver Island, like in the boonies. So you get really, close and everybody's casual. And I don't know. I think it was an amazing experience. I will never forget it.
It's interesting. I was once asked to do a body double for one of the people in the Bourne Identity, the Jason Bourne movies. And I was batting it back with my manager, being like, do I really want to go and be a body double? It's off screen. And then, I just sat there and I thought, actually, you know what? And she said, well, all the scenes are going to be in Matt Damon. And I was like, that's getting paid to do acting class with Paul Greengrass and Matt Damon. That's what it is. And I should do it. Ended up not working out because the guy I was doubling ended up being free. So he did his acting. Right. But that realization came. I was like, some people pay to go to class with a teacher that's not currently working. And here I am about to turn down these amazing directors and actors. Come on. It's something you need to recheck yourself.
For sure. Early in my career, I moved to Los Angeles and I was like, I'm going to sign up to do some background work. And I ended up, I'm really that old, guys. I worked on The Doors, with Val Kilmer.
Oh, come on.
Yeah. The Doors. And then I worked with Rob Lowe on a movie, Bad Influence. And then I did some TV shows and stuff. And it's just, I don't know. It was all new to me. And it's just like, wow.
And background stuff can count towards SAG as well. For anyone who doesn't know how that works, you need to get a certain amount of work, don't you? If you want to become part of the union, and background work counts for that, doesn't it?
With Screen Actors Guild,
I think it does, doesn't it?
It does in certain circumstances.
Yeah.
So I'll explain a little bit about it. You have to get a voucher. And I think that it's either 3 or 6 vouchers. You have to look that up, but that will translate into union status. But not every person on the set gets the voucher. So the AD is in charge of, usually the second, or the second is in charge of giving those out to the background talent. And so they might only have a handful for each set.
Is that a physical voucher?
Like it's a physical voucher that you get with your pay at the end of the day, but you don't get them for every job. So you might have to do 30 background shoots to get 6 vouchers, for instance.
Right.
And there's no rhyme or reason. From what I've heard from people that have got them, it's just about doing a good job and being, that person will pick out the people they want to give them to. Simple as that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Or you can get bumped also, actor role. All of a sudden they're like, let's give this guy a line. Right. I heard stories from people that were background for like a movie for days and days and days and days, and all of a sudden they get one line, and now
that's it.
They have to get paid for everything as an actor, not as background. So it's huge.
Wow!
I didn't know it worked like that. Wow.
Now, do you get residuals in Canada if you work on American shows, or is it a one-off payment?
It's both. It starts with a 5-year buyout
on TV.
On TV, and then after 5 years, you get residuals, or they can rebuy you out for another 5 years.
Mm.
But the buyout is 110% of your salary. On movies, it's 130 or 135. So if you get a good gig, 5,000 a week, it's 10,000. It's double the money up front, but then you don't see residuals. So now I'm starting to see Arrow and Supernatural. And do you want to know the one that's paid the most for me?
Yeah, go on.
If you've ever heard of a Disney movie called the Lizzie McGuire movie with Hilary Duff?
Mm-hmm. I have.
I just got a check for $100 2 weeks ago. That movie has paid so much over the years. It's
the
crazy.
gift that keeps giving, right?
Right? That one, yeah. That's the one. The rest are shows I did in LA, like Criminal Minds and those kind of shows, like New Girl. Those are the shows you want to be on, even as a co-star, because they just playing all around the world all the time. So,
well, syndication is a thing, isn't it? Let's talk about that.
That's right.
When a show gets syndicated, when it comes off of the original network and goes to other networks, that's what that means. Then the tips go up, don't they?
But it has to make 4 years, right?
Right.
4 years. And then after that, it can get sold. Well, it has to air for 4 years. Like after 4 years of Friends, then it can go anywhere in the ether, and then you get, that's what syndication is. If a show is just 2 seasons, it's not going to get you much. I mean, they won't buy it, or then now it goes to streaming, so you don't get as much money.
So it tends to be, in the olden days, maybe it tends to be that shows, when they were doing well, then they'd sell the whole package. They'd sell 5 or, like you said, 4 seasons all at once. So that's when you...
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
I suppose.
I mean, can you imagine being on Friends or Seinfeld? Oh, my goodness.
I mean,
people that have guest starred on those shows, money forever. That's why, the strike was so important, to fight for those residuals, because a lot of people that have been on shows, let's say as regulars, that are not famous, these residual checks could really just, help them out until they get the next show. And if they don't, well, it could be a lifelong paycheck.
If you'd like to join the WeAudition community, go to weaudition.com/show to get 25% off. Now, back to the show.
Well, while we're talking about money, do you have any advice for actors about how to manage their finances over the years? Because someone like you have regular work that's coming in, right? But let's say an actor's got less regular work. Is there any tips, or have you had any challenges in your life which you now know how to deal with better?
Get a day job. Get a day job. Don't be ashamed to have a day job. I was never really a struggling actor. I worked in the restaurant business pretty much my whole life until 5 years ago. And the acting money was always kind of just fun money for me. It's like, oh, now I'm going to buy this, and now I can do this, or because I wasn't able to pay my bills with the money I was making as an actor. And when I lived in LA, if you're going to wait tables, well, might as well do it in Beverly Hills or Venice in a hot restaurant, So I've always made a living as as a waiter, sorry, and then the acting was extra. And until you figure out that you're making enough money. What I have now as a day job, I do voiceover. So I've been with the same agency in Toronto for over 16 years. I've never met them. It's always been remote, and I do everything at home. And I do a lot of corporate and e-learning courses and commercials, and I do dubbing since I speak French fluently. So there are things that are done in English and I just dub them in French. And a lot of companies like to hire me because I can do both English and French. So that's kind of like turned now that this is my day job and it's like consistent money. As far as the acting, well, a lot of things take time to get paid, especially sometimes with commercials. And you don't know if your commercial is going to air. So you can't get too excited.
Because if it doesn't air, you don't get paid the full fee, right?
You get paid for the day and that's it.
Yeah.
I did an Apple commercial years ago in LA. Literally, they had people from 27 different countries. I was doing the French Canadian version. My friend was doing the Australian, another one. And each country had a representative from that country to come in to make sure that everything was done properly for each language and each dialect. And then they never aired it.
I think I was on
much money.
Those actually, Claude. I did a commercial for that company and never saw it.
It's crazy. You had to turn in your phone, so you wouldn't have your phone with you. But on a break, people would get their phone and call their partner and say, "Hey, I'm about to come home." And I said something like, "We only had one shot left." And then I was taken into a security trailer with the security because I spoke to someone about the shoot. I swear to God, I almost get kicked off the set. Wow. But then again, they never aired it. But they take that very seriously.
That happens a lot. I think the first thing I ever did when I was like 16, 17 years old, I got this part in a commercial and I was thrilled and I was just telling everyone about it. And I was just going to be on the TV, a long time ago. It was the most amazing thing I'd ever got.
Exciting.
I was so excited. And it was for a tea commercial. And I went off and filmed it in England. And I told everyone about it. And it was just like my big break. And that never aired. So I never got paid for that either. And I'd spent the money in my head, I bought a new car or something. I think I was 16 or 17. I was just about to be able to drive and so never aired. Never. No one ever saw it.
It gave you a love for tea, didn't it? So so interesting. We've all got these examples. It's more common because I did a commercial for Bud Light Lime and it aired in the Super Bowl.
Ooh. And that's good.
I was watching it at a Super Bowl party and there was a very famous actor next to me and he looked at me and was like, "Bro, you're going to buy a house off that." And guess what? That was the only time it aired.
Yeah. And those Super Bowls or those Oscar ones, sometimes it's only for that.
One air. And you know what? The contract allows them to play it once with your daily rate. And so the first screening of a commercial, whether that's changed in more recent years, I don't know. But at the time, the first screening of the commercial was included with your daily rate. Now, if it played a second time in the biggest audience in the world, the Super Bowl, that would have been lots of money. But it was the first time and it never played again.
Wow.
Producers would know that. Crazy. Maybe that's why they did it. I mean, it's part of the budget decision.
The amount of money they're spending on a Super Bowl commercial airing, I don't think they're taking my wages into consideration. But yeah,
I know. They're giving us some change for.
Are you seeing more commercials or less commercials now? Are things changing, or how are things feeling at the moment?
Well, lately, that's pretty much all I've been doing. I just shot one last Sunday, and I'm shooting one tomorrow. So it's Vancouver is. It's just so busy. I'm not sure why they come here. I know we look and sound American, so I guess that could be. And it's the same coast as Los Angeles, and it's just easier. But a lot of these clients and advertising agencies are in Chicago anyway, or Texas, so they still love to come here. But doesn't mean they shoot here. So we shoot abroad quite a bit, right? Barcelona is big. I was just in Uruguay a month ago. Barcelona, it's a big place. I was in Barcelona 4 years ago. So they like to go to these remote places, and they say they save a lot of money because the crew is really affordable. But to fly all these actors, put us up in hotels, I just don't get it. I just think it's the advertising agency and the clients and producers that just want to have a free trip somewhere. I just swear to God.
The advertising agency make money off of the total budget as well. I found that out one
20%
time.
off the top. Yeah, I've found that out.
Yeah, because I had I was in Norway one time, and one of the kind of producer's assistants got a little drunk one night and was telling me, you in the broken English conversation we were having, they told me that I was really difficult because I expected first class flights and 5-star hotels. And I said, that's not me. Well, I was a young actor. I was 18 at the time. And what I found out was that the advertising agency is saying that so that they can tack their fee on the top, because the more money they spend, the more budget, the more their commission is.
Wow.
I don't know if that's always the case now. I think they're more lumped in deals with everything. And then they hammer the actors down a fee and a buyout as much as possible because it's all a lumped in fee. That's my experience recently. But,
it all changed, doesn't it? I'm going back 20 years, but it's all changed a lot.
There are things being made. And I think there's more platforms now where also commercials will be advertising on some of the streaming services as well. So there might be more opportunity for us maybe in the future. I don't know, as actors.
Yeah. What they're doing with commercials now is I did one Sunday, right? 30 seconds, 15 seconds, 6 seconds, social media, all these quick clips and everything. Still, it's just like, it's a lot.
That's a big cut.
They get you and they just use you.
Talking of day jobs, Claude, have you ever used WeAudition to be a reader, or do you just hire readers from there?
Oh no, I've done both.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. But, and I use that money when I need it. So I keep it in the PayPal, what do they call it? Like a little bank or whatever.
Yeah.
And then I use that money I make. So I'm not on there to try to make money as a day job for myself. But there are days where people were throwing I helped people for like an hour and all of a sudden it's like you're getting $20, $25, $30. And all of a sudden like, wow, I made over $100 today.
Yeah.
So if somebody has the time and they're home, and a lot of people are working from home and they turn on WeAudition, I think it's a great little side hustle. Why not?
We're getting quite a few people texting us these days or sending us a DM saying it's their actual day job. I worked with a guy the other day on my audition. It was great because it was like I was getting on a flight that day out here to New York, and I had an audition come in. And I was like, this is my time to do it at 7 a.m. in the morning. And I use WeAudition because there's someone available. And he said to me, I've been on it a year and it's changed my life. And I said to him, how has it changed your life? He said, because this is my job now. Reading for other actors is my job.
That's amazing.
I quit my other jobs and this is what I do all day, every day, in between my own auditions. Yeah.
Well, I can see when I turn it on that there's some people that are there all the time. Oh my God, they're still on. And then I look at the time and I go, wait a minute, Barry, it's 2 a.m. What are you doing, Barry?
I know exactly which Barry you're talking about. Well, Barry Clifton, yeah.
Of course. He is amazing. I love that guy.
Yeah. They don't expect to come online and be earning that straight away, because people come online and I get emails saying, what can I do to get more people online? I've sat there all day and waited. And I think some people have their regular clients and they get a reputation, amongst the people that they work with, and they get really good at reading. So sometimes people come online and they think, they can pick up the work straight away. They will pick up some, but it's not going to be a full-time thousands of dollars a week job straight away for everyone.
Yeah.
But it's like anything, isn't it, Richard? It's a long game, and it's like an acting career. You stick at something, you're building those relationships up, and it's a good place to build relationships as well.
Claude is a good testament to that, sticking in the game, surely.
Yeah. Relationships, but also to keep your muscle, to keep everything going for you acting wise. Keep the muscle flowing, because during the pandemic, especially, it was like everybody was just sitting home. And it's like, why not, right? Read with people. But what I love about it is that you don't know, somebody's going to ring you and they're about to do a play and they want to be off book. And all of a sudden you're reading all these scenes from these famous plays. And then the next day you're doing a short film, or you're reading with, somebody for a TV show. And some people are like really auditioning for series regular in Los Angeles, and they're like big time actors. And you're like, what? This is great. So it's like, it keeps you on your toes and you learn a lot. And I feel like it's all sorts of, different genre of scripts to read.
Yeah, one of the good things about it actually was what happened to me the other day on the audition I was talking about. When I started to explain to my partner the genre and the the tone of the show. He said, "It's okay. I know it. I've read about 14 scripts from this show with other people already."
Wow. He'd already read.
Oh, wow.
He'd already read different. So he was very aware, and it helped me just get straight to the point because he understood the pace. He understood the show. He'd read up on the show.
I actually had that for the Disney thing that's not out yet that I did. I read with Stuart. I remember it was Stuart, and I went online. I said, "Oh, it's this thing, and it's about cops." And he said, "Oh, it's not, is it?" And I was like, "How did you know that?" And he said, I've read the other lines for the other part." And he just actually told me stuff around the plot that I didn't know. So he told me different parts of the scenes that I hadn't seen because he'd read them. And he said, "Oh, I auditioned for Moira, I think was his character or something." And I'm like, "Oh, that's mentioned in my script, but I don't know anything about that character." So we put it together as like a jigsaw puzzle.
Building the intel, isn't it? Which is part of our job as actors. We have to, do the research and build the characters, and however we can do that,
make
we should.
Decisions, I think. Yeah, you can, with something to hang on, you can make your decisions and keep it.
Right.
Yeah, I used to have all the breakdowns when I would get auditions from my previous agency, but this agency, they only send me my breakdown, which I don't really like because it's kind of nice to read all the other sides as well and see all the breakdown for the other characters for that episode. So I think it's very challenging to be an actor. Sometimes you just got to go with what you have and try to make the story and move forward.
Yeah, and there's all the NDAs now, so sometimes what you have isn't even real as well.
Oh yeah, those mock sides. That happens. Or how about when you read for Marvel, or you have to go and have you ever guys done that where you just go in?
When it's in person, I used to go in and you have to go in 10 minutes before the audition time, and then you get the sides there and you get them back at the end.
For the Crown, actually, they had them there, and you couldn't long time ago. You couldn't get a script, leave. Nothing, no. And then you had to go and pick it up. I struggle with that, I have to say, because it's like you've got to learn it, or you've got to be off. In my head, you've got to be off book. And you can't go anywhere, and no one says anything out loud. And I learn things by saying it out loud, and everyone's sitting there quiet in the room. And I wanted to take it away, and they wouldn't let me. It was a while ago, but
that sort of leveled the playing field in a way because everyone's got the same amount of time that way, haven't they?
Good way to think about it. Yeah, they'll know who's good.
That's why those acting classes that offer everything from cold read. There's a few in Los Angeles that are really good. I mean, Brian Reese has been around forever. And I used to go there at the beginning of my career, and he would make you do so many different style of setups with cold reads on camera, having all the students around you. So for an intimate, because there used to be offices where you would go read, and the producers and directors are all in the office, just crammed in there. And, so different setups is very important. And cold read is so important because when they say, "Oh, you'll never need that. You'll get the sides." And what you just said, you show up and there's your sides. You got 10 minutes. That's when those code read skills are very,
or if they change the script on you on the day,
they could change the script on you.
Yeah.
On commercial, even on TV shows like New Girl. I remember they gave me a bunch of alternate lines on the day.
Sitcoms, they do that a lot. Because if something doesn't land with a live audience, they'll take a quick break and then they'll rewrite the scene.
Right. Those guys are such professionals. That's another thing for young actors. If you live in Los Angeles or places where they do shoot shows with an audience, go see the tapings. Get in there. It's really amazing to watch these people. I mean, I've gone to quite a bit of taping back in the day, and I was like, wow, I was blown away by how great they are to be able to change those lines last minute. Okay, now you're going to say that. Okay, they just go for it.
Right, and you can get tickets for those through the various websites. I think there's a company called One Iota that does the tickets for those shows as well.
And in the UK, they shoot them at Pinewood. There's a few that they do at Pinewood, and you can get tickets on the Pinewood website if you want to go see them there. I did one that was shot there.
It's usually free. Right? In Los Angeles, it's free.
And they give you wine.
Sometimes they pay people in LA. So I actually know actors that it's not a lot, but they'll pay them a little money to be in the audience of TV shows. Yeah.
Wow.
Great way to get some knowledge and a little cash. Yeah. What's next for you, Claude? After the commercials, have you got anything coming up that you want to tell us about? Vacation. Important.
Vacation.
Important. How, talking about that, how do you make time to relax and keep your mental health strong?
Well, it's hard. Well, I do go to the gym. I make a schedule. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday, even before 8, I'm at the gym. And then it's done. And then I can move with my day. If I don't do that, if I wait and I'm sitting home doing like computer stuff and all of a sudden it's like, I don't go. So I got to go. And I live in such a beautiful city that's like the outdoors is incredible. So I ride my bike a lot and I stay healthy that way and I eat healthy. But as far as vacation, it's really difficult actually, because I've had to rebook this flight twice now. And my family's been waiting for me. It's my summer vacation. I have a place in Quebec but I'm leaving Wednesday. Rain or shine, I'm going.
This is when the bookings will come in and change that. Book a flight, book a job.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what I do now? When I go home for Christmas now, I only book a one-way flight, because from there, the last 2 years, I've had to fly from home to go work. Like in January, I was in Japan shooting a video for Infinity for 10 days. So they flew me from Montreal. I was home for the holidays.
Good for you. Wow.
And and then last year was Winnipeg. So from Montreal to Winnipeg.
I'd quite like to be you, Claude, actually. How do we get to you?
No, you guys travel a lot. So it could be challenging too,
Yeah.
Like Mexico is not always fun for some people that could get stomach issues on the return and all that. So that's very challenging for some people. The altitude of Mexico City is a big factor. I have a friend who just came back and she had some issues there. Yeah. And another girl, actually, they were having to climb or hike in the commercial or something. And then she ended up having to be sent home because she got altitude sickness. I've never had that before. But yeah. So anyway, it's challenging. But for me, I'm still really enjoying every time I'm somewhere new. I'm just so much gratitude. I'm here, I'm getting paid, I'm an actor, and I'm in a place I've never been before, like when I was in Tokyo. What? And then I extended 2 extra days so I can be on my own and really enjoy and not have to, to work. So
and that's the beautiful benefits of it. I have some tips for travel for actors as well. There's several things that I do. Always, make sure, take care of your health when you're traveling. So I have these little vitamin C packets that I bring. I always try and make sure doing, nice healthy juices and stuff on the way. Resetting your body clock with, your sleep schedule and stuff is important. And then I actually have started doing those IV drips so I don't get sick.
Really?
Yeah. When, for instance, I remember, I went straight from Cannes Film Festival to do that 2-week shoot in Hawaii. And, you're going to be on every day. So you got to, make sure your body's replenished. And so there's different ways of doing that. Different ways of staying healthy. And then on the financial side, if you're traveling a lot, make sure you use your air miles. Like if a company's paying for your flight, but you're not putting that frequent flyer number in, those air miles are just going nowhere. And the other tip is if you use a credit card, and obviously, pay your credit card off, don't spend money you don't have. But when you book on most credit cards, you're getting points or air miles that can then be used to change these flights. If you want to stay in Japan for 2 extra days, or you want to get an extra hotel, a lot of people miss earning those points and earning those air miles.
On that, yeah. And also foreign fees is important. I have one American credit card that doesn't charge foreign fees. So that's the one I use everywhere, because the other ones it could add up, So
yeah, I use a Chase Sapphire Reserve card for that because the travel points are really good. No foreign transaction fees, all that kind of stuff.
And in the UK, from that point of view, we do global payments. I'm with HSBC, and you have to have a special global payments card, and then there's no transaction fees on that. But it's a separate account. You transfer money into it for free, and then if you pay out of that account, there's no transaction fees or anything at all. And it whole balances and different. Yeah, it's really good.
Fantastic. What about eSIM card? Do you guys use those eSIM cards, Aerolo, on your phone?
I don't need to, but I will soon need to do that. Yeah, you can have two on your phone.
I don't use it because I'm with T-Mobile, and there's pretty good international roaming. And with these days with the Wi-Fi and all that, you pretty much can get what you need. I usually use and I'll upgrade the data plan if I'm traveling. But it's important to stay connected, isn't it? That's the thing.
Well, it's for the production also, because they use WhatsApp usually when you go into a foreign country. And if you're away from your hotel and you're not in a cafe and you're just walking on the street and they're trying to get a hold of you, That's not good.
If anyone's listening from the UK and they want to know, the EE network do a package. If you're on like a regular package, anything from like £20, I think, up to £50 a month, you can get an add-on, and some of them are included, where you can get roaming in most countries around the world included for free. So I roam on my tariff in the US, all around Europe, anywhere, pretty much anywhere I've ever been. There's always been included in my plan. And as long as I don't go out for more than 90 days, I think it's included. And that's okay. I don't need those SIMs. And the modern phones, they'll work in 3 different bands, 3 tri-band phones nowadays. We don't need to worry about that.
One other travel tip for actors as well is always have I started to pack a travel to go bag. Because you are going to get these last minute things and you're going to be in a rush. And so in that bag, I've got like a universal phone, universal outlet adapter for all the different plugs. I've got all the cables I would need for my iPhone and so it's just there ready in case you need to grab it. Because I find this industry is getting more and more last minute the more we go on.
Yeah, that adapter, I forgot to buy one. And when I was in Uruguay, I couldn't charge my laptop.
We were sponsored on an event by One Adapter, I think, and I want to shout out to them as well, because I actually use that regularly, and I now use it as my normal Mac charger. I just have it in my bag, and I just have that as my regular tucked away the block.
It's one block that has all the different connections wherever you go in the world.
I shout out to them because I think that's a really good product, and I just use it every day. But then when I go abroad, there's no change. I just use the exact same thing, but I press a different button. It's great. Really good product, actually.
It's really cool for that. And, of course, have your little tripod for your phone, because you're going to get that self-tape that you're going to need to do. And then WeAudition will be there for you as well when you need it, if you've got your laptop.
It sure is. I used it last year in Tennessee, and I used it in Tokyo, actually. I ended up getting a callback, and I ended up booking the job.
Hey!
So there you go.
Amazing.
Commercial. I wanted to do a shout out to Cassidy Thornton. I met her when I was working in Tennessee. She's a member of WeAudition, and she's fantastic. And it was great to meet her in person. And then Ogie, also when I was in Los Angeles last October, Ogie Durham, I met her on WeAudition, and she's a fantastic person. And you two I've not met in person yet. I missed you, Darren, when you were here in Vancouver. It was during the pandemic, and we all had to stay home, which is a shame. But I would have loved to meet you in person. So hopefully,
I know what you're saying about how beautiful Vancouver is from that, because it's so nice to be outdoors there and everything. Yeah,
especially right now.
So I'm going to put it out there that I hope I get booked on a show up there, so I can come back and see you guys.
Right? I mean, The Last of Us is shooting here now, season 2. So everybody's excited about that.
Amazing.
Pedro Pascal is in town.
There you go. Shout out to Pedro. Well, Claude, thank you so much. It means so much to us that you've come on the podcast and all of the efforts you put into the WeAudition community as well. It's really, really nice to see. So thank you.
Really appreciate it. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thanks to both of you for creating it and for having me. So best of luck to both of you as well.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to the WeAudition Show. Your hosts were Darren Darnborough and me, Richard Cambridge, from WeAudition, the leading professional actors community where you can connect, learn, elevate your career, and always get a self-tape reader on demand. We hope you enjoyed this episode. If you're a WeAudition member, or even if you're not, we would love it if you could please subscribe to this podcast, as it really helps us. And if you have friends who might get value from this episode, please share the link with them. You can find us at weaudition.com, or for your iPhone or iPad by searching WeAudition on the App Store. See you next time.